Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 14th of May 2021. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Friday's afternoon session, guys, where we're gonna have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content we produce does not constitute an investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest and we can continue. Okay guys, so I hope you can hear me well. So yep guys, before we jump into the charts here, as always, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So yep, feel free to check us out here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top, guys. So now then, jumping into the charts, the first one I want to just quickly update you on is the German index, DAX here, and yep, so far we are trading above this 15,268 territory, the one that I spoke about previously. So in a way, there is still a possibility to move higher. However, if of course, for all the realists or pessimists, whichever you want to kind of put yourself to which group you want to put yourself to, but basically for those who are a little bit more pessimistic about this move higher, we have our downside line here taken from the high of the 19th of April, which is still kind of in play. I mean, still could be tested, could provide resistance. It's a tentative one, of course, but again, nevertheless, we can keep an eye on it. But what I said to you previously, that if we climb above this barrier, the 15,268 territory, then yes, we could go for some higher levels. But like I said, if you want to keep this one here in mind, for example, if we do push further north going into next week, but let's say if it struggles to overcome this downside line, then yes, another slide could be possible. However, for me, for the downside, I need to see a drop back below this 15,093 territory, somewhere around here, and then yes, we could consider maybe a bit of a larger correction here to the downside again. But for now, guys, let's keep it short and simple. For now, all eyes are on this downside line. If well, actually, not all eyes, but some eyes are on this downside line. But basically, for now, keep your eyes on this hurdle, the 15,268. If the price continues to trade above it, then yes, higher levels could be met. But if you want, like I said, again, if you want to wait for this break of this downside line just to be a little bit more on the upside, on the safe side, then yes, we could keep an eye on it as well. Now, the NASDAQ 100. So the index here yesterday closed in the positive territory, but remained below the 100-day EMA, and yeah, that kind of doesn't really paint a very positive picture. However, if we take a look at the cash index and we'll see where the index is currently trading at, we'll see that the price is sitting at around 13,220, or actually 13,230 mark. So basically, we're back above this 100-day EMA, and we're back above this hurdle, the one that I got broken, and we're now trading somewhere around here, basically. So near the highs of yesterday and the day before yesterday, so Wednesday, and this level here, the 13,237 territory, that's the high of Wednesday, and we're currently trading just slightly below it, so we're kind of stuck in this little territory there. And if we climb above this area, then maybe we'll go for a bit of a larger correction here to the upside towards the 13,421 territory right here, which I've mentioned to you previously. Now, if that gets cleared, of course, then this is how we're going to go step by step to the upside. Nevertheless, we need to remember about the this downside line here, taken from the high of the 29th of April, which also could, I would say, provide resistance, and yep, we could see a hold up there somewhere, and another slide could be possible. So, long story short, if you want to go for the upside in the near term, yes, if it climbs above this 13,237 territory, we might consider this larger move higher, but we'll be very careful near the 13,421 zone or near this downside line. If this downside line gets broken, the price would be placed above the 21-day EMA automatically, and then potentially more buyers could join in. So keep that in mind, guys. For now, it's like I said, it's a very interesting situation here in the equity markets. It seems that after kind of hitting these all-time highs, maybe we are due maybe for a bit of a larger correction. However, at the moment, we are seeing some declines, yes, but we need to go very careful with those. We haven't seen any strong sell-off yet, so I'm not saying that this could happen or will happen in the near term, but it could happen, of course. But again, for now, we can only go from what we see, and basically for now, I would say that keep your eyes on this hurdle today, the 13,237. If we climb above it, then yes, we'll go for slightly higher levels. But if we stay below this, then maybe we could see a reversal back below the 100-day EMA here, and potentially then further declines could be possible. So keep that in mind. DXY, just a quick update on this one. So, yep, drifting lower. However, it's stuck. It's stuck again, and this time it's stuck between these two lines. Now, although this week we saw a drop, or actually, sorry, last week. Yes, do one moment just to see here. So yeah, even though last week we saw, or actually last week, yeah, on Friday we saw a drift lower here. We broke this upside line. This week we climbed back above this upside line. However, we're still struggling with this downside line, and this is what I said to you previously when I was covering DXY, that although yes, it's showing good results here, good signs, but still, first of all, a break of the downside line would be needed, and also a push of the 91.42 territory right here is required as well. So, long story short, for now, guys, we'll be, like I said, very, very careful. I'm not saying that we're leaning to the downside here very much, but what I'm going to say here is that if you want to go for those lower levels, then probably wait for a drop below this area right here. The lowest point, the current lowest point of this week, near the 89.98 level. So 89.98, beautiful, nice number. If we get a drop below this will confirm a forthcoming lower low, and further declines could be possible. Now, jumping into gold, gold is pushing higher, and yeah, so in a way, I would say partially this idea worked out, because what I was saying previously, that in a way we could get a drop here, a correction. However, my initial scenario here in the beginning of this week was that we might see a push higher here, test this downside line, and then drift lower. However, as you can see, instead we found resistance somewhere around here near the 1845 level, and then drifted, and then corrected back down. We drifted to the 1816 zone, dropped slightly below it as well, didn't really reach the upside line, and then started reversing back to the upside. So again, sometimes yeah, these happen, but for now, let's put it this way, what I'm leaning here for is the upside, of course, but I'll be very careful near this downside line, taken from the high of the 7th of August of last year, because I want to see how this is going to perform. If it breaks this downside line, then yes, higher levels could be met, but if it stays below it, yep, another slide lower could be possible. WTI oil. So this one is a tricky one, but very, very interesting. So this morning I talked about this one, and this morning we were still hanging below, fractionally below this 63.80 zone. Now, let's see how the U.S. session is going to trade today, because at the moment, yes, we are trying to get back into this rising channel. However, I want to see if this is going to end up being a false breakout here into the back into the rising channel. So basically, a lot of traders right now could be jumping back in, traveling, trying to kind of catch the moment, thinking that we're getting back into the rising channel here. But in a way, let's be very careful for now. Now, some of you probably have this one drawn here, this upside line, taken and not the rising channel pattern. Yes, you could keep an eye on that as well, guys. Don't get me wrong. But for now, I would prefer to see that drop, that daily candle to stay below this 63.80 territory. If that happens, then yes, I will consider a further decline here. But again, like I said, I'm still being very cautious. Let's see how today's U.S. session is going to trade. But at the moment, yes, it's trying to climb higher. But for me, the upside could come only on a push above this barrier right here. Above this 66.40 zone right here. So, and then, yes, we could take it from there. Now, jumping into Bitcoin. Bitcoin is, well, after drifting heavily here to the downside on Wednesday, it is now trying to correct higher, which it is doing. However, we are still struggling with this 100-day EMA, which is currently providing good resistance. Now, if it continues, then don't get me wrong, another slide could be possible back to this 47,112 zone. But if that gets cleared, then yes, the next target could be this 43,171 territory right here, marked by the low of the 28th of February. Around here, we could also test the 200-day EMA, and then we'll take it from there. But at the moment, guys, I mean, I'm still cautiously bearish, but let's see how this is going to play out. How this whole area, will it continue to provide resistance? If it will, then yep, another slide could be possible. For the upside, I'll take a very conservative approach and wait for a push above the 58,945 level right here. I would like to see the daily candle staying above it in order to go for some higher levels. But here, I'm being very, very careful right now. Now, Ethereum, unlike Bitcoin, Ethereum is gaining popularity, well, continues to kind of keep its popularity, yeah, we're seeing this nice push higher. Everything seems to be working out well here for the bulls. Can we can we continue pointing higher? Well, I mean, at the moment, I would say let's be very careful. You can see that when I was covering last time Ethereum, I said that for the downside, I need to see the daily candle staying below this 3,500 level, which we've tested. Well, we came close to testing it yesterday, but we didn't really move below it. And now we're seeing a push higher. However, I would prefer to wait for a push above the 4,213 territory here before, let's say, examining higher levels. So keep that in mind. AUD and ZD, one of my favorite ones this week and last week, and basically you can see why. So what I talked about recently and yesterday as well, that basically with this pair, we were keeping an eye on this area, and we're actually still keeping an eye on this area, this 1.0793, because I said to you guys, wait for that daily candle to stay above it, because we kept getting overshoots, and yesterday we also get another overshoot, but we didn't get the daily candle staying above it. So that's why I mean, I hope you were not jumping into all this, because again, you can see this is exactly what I mean all the time when I'm saying wait for that daily candle to end above a certain level or below a certain level, and instead we saw this drop here, and this is what I said to you previously, that if we drop below the 1.0765 territory, somewhere around here, then this could open the door towards that 200-day EMA or even this 1.0711 area. And well, I mean, at least the 200-day EMA we did reach. So now the big question here is, can we see a further decline? But to be honest, I would prefer to now at this point I would prefer to wait for a drop below the 1.0711 in order to go for lower levels. Because what I don't want to see here is just a range here, of another range where we could be stuck here for a while, and then just it could be just a no man's game. So long story short, for now, yes, it is currently sitting near this 200-day EMA. If it drops below the 1.0711, then yep, this is where more sellers could join in. USD/CHF. So far this downside line continues to provide resistance. Everything's kind of leaning a little bit more towards the downside. It seems like that, but what I said to you previously, that in order to go for lower levels, wait for at least a nice good daily candle staying below this 0.1927 territory right here. You can see we had a drop lower, but it kind of climbed back up. So now it's still kind of hanging above it. So it seems that it's getting tricky right now. And for at the moment, I would say I will take a neutral stand. And if you want to go for lower levels, wait for the daily candle to end below this area. If it ends below this area, then yes, I could start looking at some lower levels. Of course, we would need to overcome the current lowest point of this week near the 0.8985. But if that happens, then yes, this will confirm a forthcoming lower low, and further declines could be possible. But at the moment, like I said, guys, all eyes are going to be on this little hurdle right here, the 0.9027, which so far, and that's marked by the low of the 26th of February, which is currently, it's kind of providing that good area of support. For the upside, what I need here is, and let me just adjust the level here very quickly. For the upside, I need to see a push above this downside line and a push above the current high of this week, which is around the 0.9094 territory. And then yes, this would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and more buyers could join in. However, if you can see my arrow drawn here, this is my kind of more comfortable level for after a break of which I could consider the upside. But this one here, if we get a break above this, then this could open the door towards this level, towards the 0.9165. But of course, we'll be very careful near the EMAs here, the 100-day EMA, or initially near the 21-day EMA, and then near the 100-day EMA, because recently the 100-day EMA did act as a nice area of resistance, guys, so keep that in mind. GBPCHF, so although we drifted a little bit lower, but as you can see, the bulls are still trying to keep this pair above the 21-day EMA. Let's see if they can manage to do that. So far, it seems that they're successful, although initially we did have this little drop here, but yeah, the bulls kind of managed to bring the rate back above this 21-day EMA. And in a way, I would say that yes, everything's looking quite positive here. Nevertheless, a break above the 1.2790 territory is required in order to go for some higher levels. And at the moment, we're not only a break, but also a daily candle staying above this area. That's what we need in order to go for further upside. Now, euro against the Turkish lira. So, this is what I kept talking about for the past 2 days now. Basically, and this morning also I mentioned to you this one, that we've created a new all-time high, and you were seeing a nice reversal right now again. So, what it seems to be doing right now, kind of constantly, and to be honest, that is noticeable across some other instruments, and whenever we kind of come closer to the all-time high, we kind of pierce through it, we go higher, we create a new all-time high, but by the end of the day, it seems that the candle drifts back down and kind of stays below the kind of the previous all-time high, the broken one, and the same story happens again. I mean, it's happening again because we're breaking the previous all-time high. We broke the previous all-time high, but as you can see, the daily candle is now drifting back below the previous all-time high here. And let's see if it stays here. If it stays below this area like this, then well, I mean, we'll probably repeat the scenario of the one in the end of April, seen in the end of April, where the pair kind of then drifted to the downside here a little bit. So in order to, let's say, consider the downside, I would say that well, let's try to find maybe a reasonable point here. Now they're all tentative a little bit, but if, let's say, keep it short and simple here, if we look at this upside line taken from the low the 16th of April, if this upside line gets broken and we see the rate falling below this little territory again, this 10.01 zone, or in a way you could round it up towards that psychological 10 territory, if we get a drop below that 10 zone, then yes, we could consider maybe a bit of a larger correction here to the downside. So keep that in mind. And finally, EURUSD. So again, it's pushing nicely back above this 1.21 territory. So yep, it seems that it's kind of leaning a little bit more towards the upside, but I'll probably stick to the same idea that I mentioned previously, that if we get a pop above this area, the 1.2182 zone, which is the current highest point of this week, then yes, higher levels could be met, because this would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and the more buyers may join in. But at the moment, it's I would say it's a little bit of an interesting one, because let's not get caught out here with this pair, because it might travel a little bit higher, maybe find some resistance near this area, and then drift back down. So this way, kind of maybe drawing us a potential triangle pattern here in the very short, from the very short-term perspective. But again, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here a little bit, but these situations did happen in the past, so that's why I'm keeping all the options on the table. But that's why my preferred scenario for the upside is from this 1.2182 zone. So guys, that's it for this session. I hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for joining in and watching this one till the end. I really appreciate that, guys. I really do. So I hope this week was useful. Thank you very much for your support, for your comments, for your likes, guys. That really means a lot. If you want to catch me next week on Monday, as always, my Traders Espresso, that's 6 o'clock GMT time. For now, guys, have a wonderful evening, weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.